Alright, y'all, let me talk to you straight, because this story, this Shedeur Sanders situation, it's not just hype. It's not just about jersey sales or some marketing stunt gone viral. Nah, this is something way deeper. This is about how the culture moves when someone like Shedeur steps on the scene. So yeah, let me own it. He lied to me. And you know what? He's exactly right. That's why it stung. I saw the talent. I saw the leadership. I knew Shedeur looked good. It would have been amazing to have him. Earl and I, we talked about it before he's got it. All the talent. An ability you want in a quarterback. The leadership you need. And while the haters were busy clowning him as an overhyped fifth rounder, he was out here quietly cashing a $15 million check. From jersey sales alone? That's right, $15 million, while they were dragging his name across every sports show and comment section. Shedeur moved $250 million worth of merch and flipped the entire NFL rookie market upside down. Now those same people who doubted him? They're watching their favorite QBS get outshined by the guy they said wouldn't even make a roster, so please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support, and let's get real, this ain't some wild guess. I'm telling you right now, over the next 10 months, Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. This isn't a hot take, this is fact. A rookie quarterback, drafted in the 5th round, made more in jersey commission than a lot of starting QBS make in their salary. That's not just money. This ain't about going viral. This is what happens when the people speak. When fans look at the draft board and say, we don't care where he was picked, we believe in him. And yeah, there's backlash when you put yourself out there like that. Shedeur embraced it. This is his revenge tour. This is payback. For every scout who called him unpolished. For every sports network that said he was only hyped because of his dad. Not that they forgot the fans were already watching. Not ESPN, clips but real clips. Cleveland workouts in the huddle. Done. Those fans, they didn't just see the hype, they saw the work. The receipts are real. Shedeur wasn't given anything, as he built it step by step, rep by rep. That's why fanatics in the NFL didn't just throw his jersey online, they featured it. Meanwhile, you've got other rookie QBs who were drafted ahead of him. Nowhere to be found. Not a single Dylan Gabriel jersey out there. But Shedeur's, available before camp even started? That doesn't happen unless the league knows what's up. Now look, I'm not saying Shedeur's the next Elway, he's not Peyton. Or even Eli. But let me be real with you. I think he's the best quarterback on this Browns roster. It might take time, but I truly believe he's got that in him. More than that, he's a good kid. He's not just selling jerseys, he's making people believe. Because these fans, they're not just Browns fans anymore. One of them said it best. I'm not a Browns fan. I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan. That's not normal. That's cultural. That's what happens when people see something bigger than football. Raiders fans, even they are checking in on the Browns. Not for the team, for him. That jersey. It's not just cloth and print. It's a symbol. It's about representation. For others, it's about pride. But for many, it's about saying, we see you, we support you, and the timing. Wild. Most folks didn't even know you could buy a Shedeur jersey yet. One fan told me he was just browsing on Fanatics and boom, it was already up. Before camp, before reps, before anything official. That's how much the league knows he's box office. Especially for black fans, this jersey means something. One of them said, y'all say support black business? Then go buy this jersey. That hit me hard. Because this isn't about football anymore. This is real. This is ownership. This is representation in action. And let's be honest. Of why he's so marketable? It's not just because of his dad. It's because he shows love. Pops up at local spots, connects with people, just real down-to-earth stuff. That's why fans ain't hoping he succeeds, they know he will. They've already bought in. They've seen the work ethic, the focus, the discipline. This ain't blind hope. There's certain belief, so when I see $250 million in jersey sales, I'm not shocked. I'm just nodding, because this is what happens. When someone like Shedeur steps into the spotlight, the culture doesn't follow. It moves and, yeah, camp is about to start. But let's not get it twisted. The movement started the second his name got called on draft day. The NFL saw it coming. They didn't wait. Dropped his jersey early because they knew what they had on their hands. This wasn't just a player, this was a brand. This was a symbol. And some of y'all weren't even Browns fans. Y'all were just browsing, but once you saw it, you knew. This doesn't happen for a 5th round pick, but it did, because this was never about his draft number, it was about his pull, and Shedeur's pull. It's magnetic. Let me be clear, 99% of the noise around him, it's because of his dad, and he's right to call that out. But when I look at Shedeur's journey, I don't see a kid writing coattails. I see a kid flipping the NFL script. Rookies, they're grinding just to catch up, but Shedeur is already ahead. 15 million ahead, before a single down of NFL football in that jersey. That's not a fashion piece. That's a statement. That's the culture putting money where the mouth is. That's folks saying, we believe in black quarterbacks. We don't need your permission to cheer for our own. And Shedeur? 4th on the depth chart, not because of skill, because of his draft position. And that's wild, because from where I'm standing, he's already proved himself, not with hype. With strategy, with execution, with intention. The league saw it. The fans felt it. And now the jersey's front and center while others fade into the background. So don't tell me this is luck. Don't say it's because of Dion. This is what happens when talent meets timing meets culture. A 5th-round pick with the top-selling rookie jersey in the country. Let's not ignore this moment, because if Shedeur balls out tanned, y'all, no, he will. This won't just be another draft story. This will be the start of a new era, a new QB prototype. And even if he ends up starting somewhere else, those fans, they're coming with him. Because Shedeur isn't just a quarterback, he's the destination. The Browns, they're just the current stop. $250 million in jersey sales, $15 million in commission, and he hasn't even taken a snap yet. This ain't the peak. This is just the intro, and I don't know about y'all, but I already got my jersey. Do you? While the rest of the NFL world was out in Hollywood strutting down the red carpet at the ESPYs, dressed in designer tuxedos, soaking up the spotlight, I want to talk about the one rookie quarterback who chose something completely different. While cameras flashed and celebrities posed, Shedeur Sanders wasn't there. He wasn't chasing clout. He wasn't squeezing into some overpriced suit for a few seconds of screen time. No, he was thousands of miles away in Cleveland walking through the ashes of a neighborhood that had just been torn apart. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. While everyone else was celebrating fame, Shedeur was standing with families who had just lost everything. Just weeks before, an explosion had ripped through the Rainbow Terrace apartments on Cleveland's southeast side. Over 100 people were displaced. A father ended up in a coma with burns covering 90% of his body. His 2 kids, barely holding on, were in critical condition. Most of these families were poor, black, and forgotten. And no, the league didn't show up. ESPN didn't cover it. There were no celebrity fundraisers, but Shedeur did, and the hate came fast. People questioned his motives. Why wasn't he at the ESPYs? Was he just doing this for attention? Funny how a young black quarterback gets dragged for putting faith over fame, but that's exactly what he did. He wasn't there for applause. He was there for presence. And as I started to follow this story, it became crystal clear Shedeur didn't just visit this community. He helped breathe life back into it. This whole story started with a boom. A massive explosion tore through Garden Valley, turning homes into rubble and lives upside down. Smoke filled the streets, children screamed, and families ran for their lives. When the dust settled, 42 families were homeless, and 3 people were fighting to survive. But despite the magnitude of this tragedy, most of the country moved on. Local coverage? Sure. A couple tweets, maybe. But the NFL? Silent. No tributes. No press releases. Just silence. But Shedeur saw it. He felt it. And more importantly, he showed up. Not because it was part of some PR move. Not because a team told him to. He showed up because real leaders don't wait to be asked. He didn't care that some people warned him not to go. He didn't flinch when folks told him it's not your job. You know what he said? God told me to come out here. So I'm never going to question his word. That wasn't a soundbite. That was soul. He didn't roll in with a team of handlers or a crew of photographers. He posted it on social media himself. I'm pulling up, be there. And when he arrived, he wasn't there for a photo op, he stayed. He played, he listened, he led. What he did was more than charity, it was protest. A protest against being overlooked, forgotten, and written off. He stood in a community that had been ignored and said, I see you, I'm with you, I am you. That kind of presence is rare, especially in a 22-year-old rookie. But it got even deeper, because when Shedeur showed up, he brought the football. He brought his smile, he brought joy, and he brought nearly 1,000 people together for what he called the Garden Valley Fun Fest. But this wasn't some fluffy, feel-good event. This was real. This was healing. This was soul work. Kids didn't care about his draft ranking, didn't care about what round he went in. He cared that he was there, throwing spirals, racing around, laughing, sweating under the sun with them. They danced with grandmothers. He tossed touchdowns to wide-eyed 7-year-olds. He blew bubbles with toddlers. He didn't show up in designer clothes. No. Just Shedeur and a handful of people trying to keep up. His kids rushed for hugs and selfies. Even his teammate Mike Hall Jr. showed up, but he knew whose show it was. This was Shedeur's moment. Not because of his stats. Not because of a highlight. Real, but because of what he gave. He gave time. He gave joy. He gave humility. And still, people questioned him. Why wasn't ESPN covering this? Why weren't there headlines? Why were grown adults mad that a 5th-round rookie didn't go to the ESPYs? Let's be real. If this was a white quarterback, 1st-round pick, showing up in a working-class black neighborhood, he'd already have a Nike commercial in a Wheaties box. But Shedeur, he got skepticism. He got silence. Silence says a lot more about the system than it does about him. The ESPYs are supposed to celebrate leadership, courage, and resilience. But the guy who embodied all three ignored it. And that's why his absence wasn't just a decision, it became a statement. A quiet protest against a culture that loves optics more than authenticity, and when asked about the backlash, he didn't complain. He didn't get defensive. Stayed grounded. I just wanted a day for everybody to have some type of enjoyment, he told local reporters, to bring that family atmosphere back, and then he said something that hit me like a brick wall. He said sending money is easy. To actually go out there and be in the flesh. That right there shows you who he is. That's not something you can fake. That's not PR, that's presence. He's not chasing clout. He's not counting Instagram likes. He's showing up where it matters. And on the football side, same energy. He's not out here demanding reps or whining about draft position. He's studying the playbook. He's watching veterans. He's getting better. Quietly. Patiently. I got time, he said. Time to grow. Time to learn. When it's time for me to play, I'll be ready. That kind of poise? You don't see that often in rookies, especially ones carrying a famous last name and a city full of expectations. But that's who Shedeur is. Not loud, not flashy, just real. And what Cleveland's starting to realize is that he might be the kind of leader this city didn't even know it needed. Most rookies show up to training. Camp with one thing on their mind, make the roster. Not Shedeur, he's carrying more than a playbook. He's carrying doubt, expectations, purpose. But through it all, he stays locked in. He listens more than he talks. He soaks in wisdom from vets like Joe Flacco. He's earning trust. Not just from coaches, but from teammates who saw him in the community when nobody was watching. Because at the end of the day, this league is obsessed with flash. But Shedeur, he's betting on substance. He's not just trying to go viral. He's trying to build something real, something meaningful. And if this is how he operates before he's even thrown a professional touchdown, just imagine what he'll do when those lights finally hit. Legacy doesn't start with a trophy. It starts with the choices you make when nobody's watching. And Shedeur's making those choices every single day. Long before his jersey hit stores, he was already in Cleveland schools. John Marshall High, telling kids many of them doubted, just like him, that he planned to bring a Super Bowl to Cleveland. That wasn't ego. That was belief. That was hope. And when tragedy hit Rainbow Terrace, he didn't wait for a camera, crew, or a press release. He showed up again, and not just to play for Cleveland, but to fight for it. This isn't marketing. This isn't branding. This is who he is. His father may have lit up the NFL with flash and fire, but Shedeur? He's walking a quieter path, one paved with responsibility, humility, and service. While most rookies are chasing a roster spot, he's chasing purpose. And that's not something you can teach. That's something you either have or you don't. And Cleveland, whether they know it yet or not, is watching the rise of something rare. A quarterback who understands his legacy won't just be built on Sundays. It's being built every day he chooses to show up, while others don't. So while the world was busy chasing trophies and red carpet moments, Shedeur Sanders was in the neighborhood, playing ball with kids, hugging grieving families. No cameras. Just courage, let the haters talk. Let the critics question him, because when the lights fade and the headlines die out, Shedeur will still be there, still building trust, still leading, still becoming the kind of man and quarterback this city's been waiting for. Let me tell y'all something, Ann. I mean this with every ounce of conviction. I've believed in Shedeur Sanders from day one. I said he should have gone number 1 overall in this year's draft, and I stand by that, 10 toes down. But what the NFL did? What they really did? It felt like they wanted to humble him. Humble Dion. Teach them both a lesson. They made Shedeur fall plummet all the way to the 5th round. 50 picks after the Browns already took Dillon Gabriel. Think about that. Cleveland had already taken a quarterback and then still drafted Shedeur. That alone tells you something. Ain't adding up, but before you scroll or click off, hold up, because what just happened behind closed doors in Miami didn't just make noise. It set the entire scouting world on fire. I'm not talking about Caleb Williams. I'm not talking about Drake May, the guy who just flipped the quarterback evaluation script completely upside down. That would be Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah,
Same guy the league let fall to day 3 like he wasn't built for this. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Now teams are scrambling. GMs are making phone calls. Scouting departments are in panic mode. And I'm just sitting here like, I told you. I've been saying it. I never wavered. I believed Shedeur should have gone. Number 1. And I believe the league tried to pull some "you're not bigger than the system" kind of message on him and Dion. But what just happened in Miami? That flipped the power dynamic. Because in one closed door, no-nonsense high-level workout, Todd didn't just look good, he made grown men with 3 decades of scouting experience question everything they thought they knew. The buzz started as a whisper. A few texts, a couple of quiet calls, but by Friday, everybody in the league was talking about it. Now I get why Dion's been walking around with that unshakable confidence. Because this wasn't a TikTok hype video. This wasn't some flashy 7-on-7 drill with Instagram overlays. This was raw. This was pressure. This was NFL level everything, and Shedeur didn't just handle it. He thrived. 3 weeks ago. I heard Shedeur was putting together a private workout in Miami, but this wasn't just some backyard throwing session. This was at the facility, and one where Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have trained. No media. Music, no fluff, just straight football and Shedeur. He didn't invite his friends, he invited the Wolves. Former NFL defensive coordinators, Super Bowl champs. Guys who've scouted Mahomes, Peyton Manning, every elite QB of the past 20 years, and they showed up. 6 a.m. Miami. Long shadows creeping across the turf as the sun came up. 15 NFL coaches, execs, and scouts walked in with clipboards and game faces. No small talk, no smiles. Just cold, analytical football minds ready to dissect this kid. Dan. Shedeur walks in. No cameras. No theatrics. Just a kid with a famous last name and something to prove. First drill, 40-yard throws, 2 stationary targets. Sounds easy, right? Not when your targets are former NFL route runners who will expose every flaw in your timing and arm strength. First, throw zip-tight spiral, 40 yards on a rope. Hits the receiver perfectly in stride. The scouts glance at each other. Second throw this time, a comeback route. He lets the ball go before the receiver even makes his break. Boom. Right in the chest. One of the scouts literally drops his clipboard. And that was just the warm dash-up. Then came the simulation's full-speed mock defense. Former NFL starters not. Backups lined up across from him. They threw everything at Shedeur. 2-minute drill. No timeouts. 85 yards to go. Down 6. NFL-level disguises. Late rotations. They were trying to break him. And you know what he did? He read the pre-snap look like a 10-year vet. Waited. Fired a 15-yard dig between 2 defenders. Hit his man in stride.
Linebackers.
Just stood there like, wait. What? And then the pressure test. Former Pro Bowl pass rushers brought in to collapse the pocket. Blitz off the edge, middle pressure, delay blitz from the linebacker. The kind of setup that swallows most college QB's whole. But Shedeur? He slides left just 2 step size, still downfield, then bang. Fires a 30-yard dart while getting hit. The ball floats just over a defender's outstretched hand and lands in his receiver's lap. Silence. Then a slow clap. Then another. Then the whole room standing ovation? But the real magic? It wasn't just the arm talent. It was what was happening between the ears. They ran real NFL concepts. Hot routes, audibles, protection shifts. Stuff it takes veteran quarterbacks years to master. And Shedeur? He owned the huddle. He called protections. He changed routes. Mid-play, he spotted a safety rotating and audibled into a touchdown on the fly. A former NFL defensive coordinator just stood there frozen, mouth hanging open like, what did I just see? And here's the part that gives me chills after every rep. Shedeur wasn't celebrating. He walked up to defenders and asked, why'd you rotate there? What coverage were you showing?
How would you
disguise that better? A former NFL linebacker told a reporter, I've trained with QBs who've been in the league for 10 years. None of them asked questions like this kid. Shedeur wasn't just playing ball, he was learning. Absorbing everything in real time for hours, no breaks, no excuses. By the end, the whispers had turned into a storm. Draft boards were getting rewritten when GM was overheard saying, that was the most complete quarterback performance I've seen from a college player in 20 years. And suddenly, the phones started ringing. The Giants reportedly sent their head coach and offensive coordinator to go over the tape. The Raiders had their owner reach out personally. Other teams scrambled to schedule new private workouts. Through it all, Dion just stood back and smiled like, told y'all. Now the question ain't, can Shedeur play in the NFL? That ship has sailed. The real question is, which team is smart enough to build their future around him? Because in a league where one quarterback can define an entire decade for a franchise, what we just saw in Miami might have reshaped the draft entirely. And if this wasn't a fluke, if what we saw is who Shedeur actually is under real NFL pressure, then folks, we're not talking about a draft steal anymore, we're witnessing the start of a new era. But what do y'all think? Is Shedeur the next face of the league? Or was this just an impressive workout that won't translate to Sundays? Drop your thoughts in the comments because, trust me, this story is just getting started. Thanks for watching, and see you next one.